everyone. Welcome to the studio. I'm your host, Neil Datello, and this is the 401 Podcast. As always, to my left, my buddy Pat Daly.
Pleasure as always, brother.
And my right, Mr. Michael Quattromani.
Happy to be here.
Fellas, how are we feeling?
Oh my God.
How are we feeling?
You know what? I would like to formally say to everyone watching, welcome to season
Welcome.
2.
Welcome.
I
I hope you like it.
Dude, this...
Here we are.
You know what? Introduce it. Take it away.
So, we are back, brand new studio. It looks... We got new mics.
Yeah.
Cable.
Headsets.
I
We're
got
talking.
stickers
We're
now.
living.
Yeah.
We're living.
This kid never has stickers. He finally has
Yep,
stickers.
finally got stickers.
How are we, Mike?
We're only like 50 feet away from my basement, which is where we usually record the podcast.
Yeah.
But
I mean...
no, I am... Oh my God.
I'm so hyped.
This has
Oh
been a
my
long...
God.
This has been a long hiatus. It's felt like a year, but I'm ready. I'm back. And boy, do we have a lot to talk
Oh
about.
my
We
God,
do.
yeah.
So, let's get right in. So, obviously, we're starting today talking about national champion, Heisman winner, 2011's #1 overall draft pick and league MVP Cam Newton, officially a Patriot. 1 year,
Yeah.
Wow. Just wow. That's all I can really say.
$7.5 million.
With incentives.
My initial camp thoughts are these: extremely talented, motivated. I think the way the Panthers released him lit a fire under him, to say the least.
Majorly.
Michael, I want to kick it off to you. What are your initial thoughts?
You know, it's a low risk and it's an extremely high reward
It
situation.
really, I could not agree more.
Because
They got him
For
for almost
both part-
nothing, and he was...
For both parties
if
involved.
he-
People
yeah.
forget all the time that he was an MVP about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so forgotten. Low risk, high reward. Completely.
Absolutely.
Michael.
You know, if this doesn't pan out and he doesn't make the final roster, let's say, which is a possibility.
Very unlikely.
It's Bill Belichick. I mean, it could be another like Demarius Thomas situation. Remember last year everyone was super hyped
Yeah,
about
a
Demarius
little bit
Thomas,
different
and
than Demarius Thomas.
Nah,
Mike.
well, I don't know. They only lose $1 million. Anyway, they only lose $1 million, which is really nothing. But I only see a few negatives out of this. I think it's a win-win for
It's a complete
basically
win-win.
everyone. I mean, Cam Newton gets a chance to revive his career, which he hasn't started a full season since 2017. And the Patriots get a potentially, MVP caliber quarterback to put under helm and, get them back to the playoffs. But look, obviously one of the worries going into the season was how Stidham basically had the starting job. I mean, he had no one to compete with. Brian Hoyer's not a competition. He had no one to
He was prepared to be a backup.
Yeah.
No, preparing Hoyer to be a backup.
He had no he had no one to kind of check his role. So now he does. He has a former MVP, and I think that's gonna give a chip, put a chip on Stidham's shoulders, whether he starts or not. But this, like I said, this move makes me worried for one reason, because it shows the Patriots aren't 100% confident in Jarrett Stidham, and obviously, it's an obvious statement because you can't tell
they
me
had
that.
been planning this for months before, though. Dude.
Well, yes,
I
but
think it had little with the confidence in Jared Stidham, more so they knew what they were doing. If that somehow didn't pan out, Stidham was their backup.
no, I think that if they liked Stidham, then they would not have gone for Cam Newton.
Of course, dude, but who's better,
We
Cam
just
Newton
have-
or Jared
we
Stidham?
haven't-
Who do you have more confidence in?
If-
It's pretty
Obviously,
easy.
I don't
Cam,
know.
we haven't seen enough.
Whoa,
out of Stidham.
hold on. The first disagreement of season 2.
You have more
I
confidence
think.
in Stidham?
No, that's what I heard from you.
Look, honestly,
I have more
if I had
confidence
to put
in
money on it,
Cam.
probably Cam Newton,
Okay.
I'd have more confidence in. But the injuries are definitely a question. The rust is a
Skill-wise.
question.
I completely disagree
Skill-wise, I
that-
have more confidence in Newton, just because I've seen
Yeah.
more out of him.
Exactly, and I think that's a great point that we've seen more out of Newton. We haven't seen
Injuries
anything
are
and you
not a
can't tell
problem.
me for 1 second that 2018 draft night when the Patriots picked Stidham in the 4th round, Bill Belichick was like,
This is our.
"Yeah, this is Tom Brady's replacement."
Right.
Like you can't
course
tell
not.
me that. But this is I hope we're consensus on this is the best offense that Cam Newton has seen since
In a while.
2015, his
In a
MVP
while.
season. I mean, in that year he had Greg Olsen, Jonathan Stewart, and Ted Ginn.
That
His
Super
wide
Bowl
receivers
run.
were Ted Ginn and Corey Brown.
Yep.
That's it. No one else.
Right.
So, and he went to the Super Bowl with them.
15-1.
Which is kind of
15
remarkable.
and 1 and went to the Super Bowl.
And that just tells you how good he was. Michael, I gotta disagree with you though about the injuries. I can't say I'm crazy concerned about it. I'm gonna
I
ask
am
you one.
extremely concerned.
I'm gonna ask you one easy question. In what situations do quarterbacks most easily get injured? What part of the play?
When they get sacked.
When they get sacked. Strictly from a statistical standpoint, Cam has been sacked 6th most in the NFL, 291 times. On the other side, the Patriots have allowed the second fewest sacks in the
Yes,
NFL
and he's
at
mobile.
271.
Absolutely.
So what does that tell me? It tells me that Cam's injuries had a lot to do with his offensive line, which was, frankly, not great. most of his time in Carolina.
But there's no guarantee he's going to fully recover from those injuries. And I think that's the part that's worrying me the most.
And secondly, it tells me that the injury problem should be solved with the solid top 10 offensive line in New England. He has passed every single physical. And look, it's kind of a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Look at the guy grinding on Instagram. He posts Instagram stuff all the time, like him working super hard. The dude is in shape. I am not concerned about his injuries at all. We have a strong, tough offensive line to keep him protected.
Just to kind of recap, so his injuries so far: March 2017. He had off-season surgery to repair his partially torn rotator cuff. January 2019, he had an off-season shoulder
which is
surgery.
a shoulder injury on his throwing arm.
More shoulder surgeries. August 2019, I think actually against the Patriots, he sprained his foot in
and that's the injury that you got to be worried about. It's in his planting foot. He got Liz Frank surgery, which it's comparable to it's comparable to an ACL tear. And for a wide receiver, it's deadly. I mean, that's a career-altering injury. But for quarterbacks, it's not that bad. And I was doing some research on it of past quarterbacks who had Liz Frank injury, and Matt Schaub back in 2011. I don't know if you remember that name, but for the Texans, Matt Schaub had it, and the next year made the Pro Bowl. So it's not like the biggest deal in the world.
We forget that Matt Schaub was a Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
that's so
Big
funny.
Ben had it, and he's back. I think that Cam Newton can recover from this. I just don't know if he can recover from all of the injuries he's had.
Completely.
That's the big question.
Injuries don't concern me.
I think
they
having
don't.
pretty much the year off really helped him, especially if we're seeing, like Pat said, like he's working out. We've seen the throwing videos with Odell that have gone viral. Like we've seen him being active. We've seen him, getting himself back in shape. He's in awesome shape. I think that's a really good sign for this team.
I do want to get back to the weapons though for a second. I want to get back to what Cam Newton really had in Carolina. In 2015, he had Jonathan Stewart, who didn't have 1,000 rushing yards. Corey Brown, who didn't even have 500, and Ted Ginn, who barely had 740. And he had Greg Olsen with 1,100.
Who is his favorite weapon?
Greg Olsen, obviously. And that is one of the biggest negatives I think comes from this, is that Cam Newton doesn't have a Greg Olsen in New England.
A type tight end. Dude,
I
don't know. Let's see how those draft picks develop.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. In years to come, tight ends, their rookie year, don't perform as well as other players coming into the NFL.
And you know what? This is obviously, as Cam Newton we've seen, this is going to be, and I think Josh McDaniels is going to have a lot of fun with this. This is going to be a predominantly run offense with the power of Cam Newton's running ability, who can pass, of course. He has the threat, but right now, after this pickup, what's better right now, our run game or our pass game?
It's a run game.
A run game,
I think so. I mean, and Cam Newton goes from an offense with Jonathan Stewart to arguably the best committee in the NFL. Sony Michel, James White, Rex Burkhead might get cut, and Damian
The
Harris.
best committee in the NFL. That's a lot of.
I said arguably.
No. I'm not going to even disagree with you on that. I think they're the top 5 or top 10 committees for running backs.
You could probably convince
you're just
me.
speaking out of very different sides of your mouth there, Michael. I've heard a lot of negative things about Sony Michel out of your mouth.
Look, I don't think Sony Michel. I think he might regress from last year too. I don't think he's going to have a great year. I just think he's just another.
I know you're a
body
fan
in
of
that
James
back.
White, and I am too.
I love James White. James White is arguably. I think he's the best receiving back in the NFL. Honestly, say what you want about Christian
Kamara might
McCaffrey
take that.
and Kamara.
I
know,
might take that.
but James White
But
on
James
the
White,
backfield is
he's top 5.
good.
He's lethal.
And he can bail out quarterbacks, which I think that like McCaffrey can.
He's that little check down.
He's the check down
Majorly.
route, and I think that him and Cam Newton are going to build a really good relationship in that backfield, something that he didn't have in Carolina, which I think makes the offense a little bit easier.
So my question for you guys is this: what's the likelihood of him getting injured in the future? What's your concern about that? Thoughts?
Well, I don't want to speak to the likelihood of it because,
Knock on wood.
but
Dude, I'm confident that this guy will not be injured very frequently, just strictly because of the offensive line. Sacks are a problem. He got sacked a ton. That shouldn't be a problem anymore. We have I think it's 10th best in the NFL, our offensive line. I'm very happy with our offensive line. I think we can keep it
Patriots don't
protected.
allow a lot of sacks, but when you actually watch the games, a lot of it was just Brady running out of the pocket and then throwing it away, avoiding the sack.
Well, Brady's a little bit different. Oh, you're just saying in regards to the good stats of the offensive line?
Yeah, I think
Also,
that
Brady is
running
one
out of the
quickest
pocket,
release times also.
out of the pocket and just throwing it away helps your offensive line numbers when it comes to sacks.
But we've also made some improvements on the offensive line. We franchise tagged some guys. We've had guys come back from injury.
You brought
The
Joe
offensive
Thuney
line
back.
didn't get
you
worse.
Had,
It got better.
Some of your rookies, who didn't have time last year to play because they were injured. They're coming back this year. You're getting guys back, obviously. I think the offensive line will be better. I think
It will be better than last year,
But
especially with the more mobile quarterback. It just gives him – he can scramble much more than Tom Brady ever could. It takes the pressure off the offensive line a little bit more. I don't even think they'll need that pressure to be taken off. I think they have a strong enough offensive line to give Cam that just enough time to be able to scramble and get a pass off. You see what I'm saying?
And
His average time to throw is 2.8 seconds, which is kind of like years in the backfield. 2.8 seconds average throw.
They also runs a lot of play action, which is another thing I want to bring up. I actually have a few things I want to ask
88%
you
of the
guys.
time, he's in shotgun.
So in Carolina, he was pampered. I mean, Carolina built an offense around
Completely.
him. And I'm gonna ask you first. Do you think that Cam Newton is a quarterback that can, let's just say for the Patriots, because he is on the Patriots, do you think he's a quarterback that can come into the Patriots system and just work, or do you think that he needs to have pieces built around him? Because there are quarterbacks in the NFL, you can throw them into any system,
Mike,
and it'll work.
I want you to think back to, who was it, Ryan Mallett back in 08?
No, Matt Castle.
Matt Castle, excuse me. Matt Castle back in 08. I want you to think back to Jimmy Garoppolo when Brady was suspended because of Deflategate. I want you to think back Jacoby Brissett. Offenses were built around the specific skills of that quarterback.
Yeah, but it was
I
also
think
East
will
Coast
be-
offense, though. It was a pocket passer offense that they have. This is not a pocket passer
Dude,
offense
think
anymore.
back to when Josh McDaniels coached Tim Tebow back in Denver. He loved that dude.
Yeah, and he sucked in Denver.
Fair. I'm just saying that he's coached a very mobile quarterback before, and he wasn't good. So maybe this is his opportunity
I think
to
Belichick's
shine
got a
and to
field
be
day
able.
with this. I think Belichick has been
Absolutely.
obviously yearning to have a different offense. I think he's finally getting his wish here.
It's gonna be a new. I think it's kind of a breath of fresh air, to be honest. I think it's gonna be fun, and I've said in past podcasts, the Patriots conform around a certain style of offense. I kind of go back on what I said. I gotta say, I think now looking at this guy and knowing that he can run and he can actually
That's another question I want to ask you.
accuracy. I'm assuming.
No, not even that. Are we giving Cam Newton too much credit for his legs? And because he is 31 years old, he's getting up there, and he's dealt with injuries, with a foot injury to be, more exact.
I don't think we're giving him too much credit.
I don't think we're giving him too much
necessarily.
credit.
I think just going anywhere from Tom. I think New England just hyped in general because going from Brady, legs wise and running wise, mobility wise,
An MVP quarterback
anything's
to another
like great.
MVP quarterback.
Especially exactly. Only one ever been done with single offseason.
Right.
But I just feel as though I don't think we're giving him too much credit, but I think we're definitely recognizing, a piece of talent for what he is.
Completely.
Yeah, but my question is that piece of talent, are we giving it too much credit? Because
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No, you didn't
I
say his
mean-
talent. You said his legs. Between 1978 and 2019, did you see the stat that the entire organization of the Patriots, their quarterbacks have ran for 2,833 yards. Cam has ran for 4,833 yards. Cam has ran for 4,806.
Yes, but that is before 2017. Now he has all these injuries. That's the thing that I'm trying to stress. Are we giving him too much credit?
I think we're giving him just as much credit as he deserves. He was an MVP player.
Yes, was in 2015. I'm not saying
That's
he can't
not
get back
that
to
far
that point.
away.
Yes, but injury-wise, it is.
He's recovered from the injuries.
How
He's
do
passed,
you know
He's
that?
then he
passed
went-
every single
But
physical.
then he
Yes,
went
just 'cause
6
you
and 8
pass
in
a
2 seasons
physical.
after that. Like he wasn't.
Yeah, 6 and 8. That's not good. He went
nothing-
from 15
it's-
and 1 to
as,
6 and 8.
As one says, it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, he went 6 and 8. That's not good. And that's
He-
post-injury.
Okay,
and
he
last year,
he did go 11-5 and 17. I'll give him that. But
Yes.
2016 and 18, obviously injuries in
2019, he went 0-2 and a 55%
The team
completion
also
rate
took a little bit
after
of a
having Liz
decline.
Frank.
The team took a little bit of a decline. They lost some defensive pieces and stuff
They
like
got
that.
DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel and Greg Olson.
Fair.
And Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in the NFL.
So are you saying that you're not confident in him in New England?
No, I'm asking, are we giving him too much credit when it comes to his legs?
I think we're giving
I
him
think
just
he can
enough
be a
credit.
good quarterback. He's had a year and a half worth of rest. 2 years worth
Yeah,
of rest.
that's another thing. Just to attest the nonchalantness I have with his injuries. I think he's going to be fine. He's had a year and a half to recover from them.
I don't know. I think I'm hopeful, and I want to say that the injuries are enough, but I think it's just too naive. I mean, the stats speak for himself. Like Neil said, he's been 6 and 8 since 2017.
Yeah, but just looking at these stats, dude, with the historic Patriots quarterbacks and Cam Newton, it tells you a lot about just the history of the Patriots and what we've seen so far.
Yeah, but what we've seen so far is not going to be at all what we're seeing in the future.
Neil.
That's what I love most about this, and also kind of makes me nervous at the same time, is just the fact that this is going to be what we consider the Patriot way, or the Patriot system. Like, people are asking, oh, is he going to fit into the system? We're not even sure what the system is. It's gonna be an entirely new system than what, especially us, we're used to seeing, because we've only been around. We've only lived during the Brady era, you know.
Right. I think that stat tells you a couple things about the historic Patriot quarterbacks. It tells you that Patriot quarterbacks are historically immobile, completely. They were majorly pocket passers, and I think that's half the reason why. I think that's half because the Patriots traded for them and drafted them, because that was the Patriot way, pocket passers. And I think it's just half the league changing. You know what I mean? Running is becoming a more prominent characteristic of a quarterback in the NFL. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's crazy to say that we're not giving his legs enough credit. He has better yards per carry than Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and James White.
He's also a quarterback, so that just happens.
Doesn't that prove that even more? They're running backs. That's their job to run.
Yes, but
what are you talking about?
But it's a quarterback. Like, historically, quarterbacks have better yards per carry because they only rush the ball like 2 or 3 times a game.
Good point.
Running backs can carry it 15, 20 times a game. And you know when it's a running back.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different, don't you think? Like, Tom Brady could run for 15 yards and then run for 10.
You're talking about an immobile quarterback running the ball.
That's what I'm saying. So
why don't you compare it to Lamar Jackson?
So no, I'm going to compare it to Cam Newton, who is a very mobile quarterback. He's not running it once or twice and getting 10 yards per carry. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think he's running it much more than that.
How many?
In 2015, he had 132 rushes over 16 games. Let me math that for a second.
Let me math that for a second.
Let me math that.
But honestly, it's going to be a fresh start for the Patriots, a new way of looking at things, a new play style. I thought this wouldn't work initially, but I like it. I'm happy with it. We forget he was an MVP five seasons ago.
8 carries a game.
8 carries a game.
8 carries a game. Okay. That's not a lot.
Okay.
So I think that yards per carry are going to be a lot.
Okay.
So I guess the question that I'm asking here, guys, is the addition of Cam Newton on this team going to enable them to make a playoff run and maybe a Super Bowl run?
I think at this point Cam has taken this team to a place where we could be fighting for the division. 3 days ago, I would have said Bills, no question. Pats maybe fight for a wild card. 3 days ago, this team is going to fight for the division. Cam has 17 career game-winning drives to Tom Brady's 45. And comparatively, that's actually not that bad, seeing as Cam has been in the league for now 9 years. Add injuries, add time he's been out, Tom has been in the league for 20. So comparatively, I think that's a pretty solid, a solid comparison. I don't know if this team is like, I'd say, a Super Bowl contender, but I think maybe not deep. I think this team is fighting for the division and they go to the playoffs.
I think we're also kind of frank too. They lost a ton of people in free agency. Jamie Collins, Danny Shelton, Kyle Van Noy.
I think that
Elandon
defense
Roberts,
is still strong enough.
Nate Ebner, and obviously Tom. We also traded Deron Harmon to the Lions. So do you think, even with the losses, but I suppose the loss of Cam, you're confident?
You mean the gain of Cam?
I said addition of Cam.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm so confident in our defense. I think our defense is top 5 in the NFL, if not a little bit better than top 5 in the NFL, maybe top 3 in the NFL.
Interesting. Mike, thoughts?
Every year I think there's about 4 to 8, maybe 9 teams that are like Super Bowl contenders. Like these are teams that are going to contend to win the Super Bowl. I think Cam Newton puts them in that conversation if he's fully healthy.
Hold on. Super Bowl?
Wow. Dude, I mean...
Super Bowl. This was a team before... You were, 10 minutes ago in this podcast, you were like, are we giving Cam too much credit? Comparatively,
I was also saying it for his injuries.
Comparatively to 5-11 in season 1
Cam Newton. I know,
before we had Cam
behind
Newton.
That camera
and
saying,
now,
Michael, you said they were 5-11. I also said how I didn't want you to hold me against that.
Of course, before Cam Newton,
changes.
And I agree that Cam Newton makes this team a completely better team. I completely agree. But so you're kind of speaking out of both sides of your mouth because you're saying without this team, they're 5-11. Without Cam Newton, they're 5-11. But you question Cam, and now you're saying that they're going to make a Super Bowl run?
If he's fully healthy, I think that they potentially can. I'm not saying he has to be MVP. If he's a top 12 quarterback in the NFL, I don't think it's out of the question. I'm not saying they're going to win the AFC. I'm not even saying they're going to go and beat Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he can. But I think that he can win the division and beat Josh Allen and the Bills. I think that he can be the 4 or 5 seed in the AFC. I think that he can, if the Patriots catch heat, go deep in the playoffs.
And anything possible. The Titans beat the Ravens last year.
Exactly. I don't think that any of this is out of the question. Teams can catch heat. A few years ago, it was the Eagles and Nick Foles, and they blew us out of the water. Last year, it was the Titans. You know, teams pop up out of nowhere. The Patriots might be that team. And I think you got to think about it. When I did my schedule prediction, I said 5-11. I went game by game. And I looked at which teams like the Patriots are going to beat and lose. And the only thing I had fixated in my head, and I know I'm not the only fan because we collectively did, and many other Patriots fans did too, is the Patriots have the toughest schedule in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
That's also based on last year records. Okay, teams can get better and worse from year to year. Patriots. So I'm not sure. I don't know what the exact statistic is, but Bill Belichick is like 23 and 2 against quarterbacks under the age of 24 or 25.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Guess how many quarterbacks the Patriots face that are under the age of 24 or 25? Just guess. Out of 16, guess.
7.
12.
14.
Wow.
14 out of 16 quarterbacks they face
Under the age of 25.
are under the age of 25. Okay? I think I put Deshaun Watson in that mix. I think he's young enough. I'm not sure what he is, but I added him up earlier, and I'm like, I think he's under 25. I'm not sure. It's still Bill Belichick. It's a former MVP. And if he's healthy, and you have the best slot receiver in the NFL.
Deshaun Watson's 24.
24.
24.
So 14 out of 16.
Yep.
You have the best slot receiver in the NFL. You have one of the best running back committees. You have a former MVP. You have arguably the greatest coach of all time. You have a top 3 defense in the NFL. You have arguably the greatest secondary in the NFL.
What's not to
you
like?
You have a great pass rush. I still think they have a good pass rush. I still think with all the players that they've drafted, give Josh Uche some time. Give Anthony Jennings some time. Give Kyle Duggar.
This is a very different Michael Quattromani from end of season 1.
It is.
And the only thing that has really changed is Cam Newton.
Yes, and it's also been my ability to move on from Tom Brady because I had a lot of difficulty doing that.
Everybody
and I
does.
also looked at the stats. I looked at Tom Brady having the 7th worst QBR in the NFL and the 3rd worst completion percentage. Mm-hmm. I saw him fall off. I saw him create locker room problems, such as screaming at Josh McDaniels and having bitter arguments with Bill Belichick behind the scenes. And what was the other one? Screaming at wide receivers and screaming at Josh McDaniels. You've seen the videos. Screaming at wide receivers, get open. I've seen those. Those created problems. I don't think that Cam Newton is going to create problems like that. I think that he's going to leave his ego at the door.
And you know what?
I think this is a new Cam Newton.
And it kind of makes me so upset. He's so known as this problem guy who's makes problems. He really doesn't. He's the best word I would describe him is flashy. I think is the word.
Look, he cares about himself. He's kind of a scumbag. I'm not going to get past that.
No, I don't think he's a scumbag.
Dude, he's not the greatest guy in the world.
I disagree.
So are you at all concerned about Cam's stigma coming in that he's gonna create locker room problems?
I'm gonna word it as this and don't switch anything I'm saying. Not any more than Tom Brady.
Yeah, I like
not
that
anymore
answer.
in the way that Tom Brady affected the locker. And he was a leader and he commanded the offense and he commanded the defense. I get that, but he created problems.
Yes.
He did not raise those wide receivers' self-esteem when he's screaming at them, get open, to Jacoby Myers and to N'Keal Harry. Right. He didn't help them out in that regard. Right. I don't think Cam Newton is bringing that negative attitude to this team.
I think, and even if you want to say that, Cam is flashy, Bill does this all the time with players. Randy Moss, Antonio Brown, Aaron Hernandez. And I'm not saying Cam has done anything, life-altering, he's, has major problems or anything like that. I just don't think he's a bad guy, and I think he has a way about him that can sometimes come off as maybe a little bit selfish. But I think, if anything, I think the organization will – I don't want to say straighten him out, but I think he will be a Patriot by week 1. That's what I think, through training camp and such.
Dude, I don't like their schedule.
Starter week 1?
Week 1 he will start. Okay. And I actually want to hop into that. Poor Stidham. I low-key feel really bad for Stidham. Dude, but you know what? They'll fight for that spot. I think they'll fight for the side. I think Cam ultimately will get it.
Bill's so smart for that because Jared Stidham.
It'll make Stidham better.
Different mentality getting a spot that he fought
uncontested.
MVP to get,
Exactly.
as opposed to like, oh, this is just like handed to me.
But you know what? I think obviously there's more uncertainty when it comes to Stidham than Cam. I think there's slightly a little bit of uncertainty with both quarterbacks just because maybe the injuries and stuff like that. So we have Stidham as a backup. Does it remind you of, I don't know, a Mariota Tannehill type deal? The team that ended up going to the AFC Championship kind of deal?
Yeah, that's what I was saying before.
With a quarterback and the
literally
backup
anything
quarterback
can happen.
being very solid, and if it doesn't work out, popping him in and see how he does?
Yeah.
Ring a bell?
No, that's
I don't know.
That's obviously opportunity. The only difference there is Ryan Tannehill had years of experience, and he had years where
Of
he was
course.
regarded as a upper
Cam
half
had-
quarterback.
Cam
Derrick
Newton has
Henry.
years of experience. It's just flipped.
Yeah, but Jarrett Stidham hasn't.
All I'm
had
saying
it.
is that they
Hang on a
have
second.
that very, very
He's
solid
had 4
backup.
snaps. One of them was a sack. One of them was a pick six.
You don't think we've talked about this in past podcasts in season 1, and we have both agreed that Jarrett Stidham has potential, Michael.
Yes, absolutely. But actually, I was thinking about this a few days ago, and I was getting really excited because I'm like, I think Pat's gonna say this, and then I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna disagree. Pat, do you think that the year under Tom Brady helped him considerably?
Help considerably or helped him? It certainly didn't hurt him. How could it hurt him? He's the greatest quarterback of all time. I wouldn't say considerably.
Would you want to take away some of the things that Brady did last year?
Fair.
I mean, I was
Fair.
thinking about it.
Yeah, and I mean-
people are like, look what happened with
Learning under
Jacoby
Tom Brady doesn't
Brissett
make
and
you
Jimmy
worse.
Garoppolo.
It's being fed to you. You're watching it happen. It won't make you worse, but
And-
I agree, somewhat a little more
But
flexible.
do you think that Brady wanted to teach Stidham
No.
when Brady
No.
felt that he was
No, but it
on his
didn't-
way out the door before the season even began?
No. I don't think it made him worse though. I don't
think it made him worse. I just hope that Stidham didn't take away anything that Brady did.
Yes.
Because Brady looked tremendous last year, and
Right.
I'm finally able to like come to that understanding as a Patriot fan, where I think we've been trying to like, hide in the back of our heads for
Right.
the last few
We
months
like to
because
deny
we're
it.
trying
We
not to
played
come to
not
that,
good.
understanding. But dude, I don't think that Stidham got that much better because of Brady. Maybe he got better just from that year of NFL experience, but I don't think Brady had a lot to do with that. He had a bad attitude. He didn't play very well. And only had 1 year. Guys like Garoppolo and Brissett had 3 years, I want to say. I'm not sure. I think it was either 2 or 3 years of MVP caliber Tom Brady.
But they're also, and I think to your point also, like they're also finding them. So Stidham is finding himself in this league. We don't know what he's going to amount to yet. And I think the uncertainty that comes with Cam and with Stidham, they're different uncertainties. I think
Yes.
with Cam, we're kind of thinking about
Injury.
Injuries. Is he going to perform to the level? Is he going to even get like 65, 70, 75% of the way that he was in 2015? Are his legs still there, as we talked about earlier, Michael? Stidham is like,
He hasn't played.
we haven't seen him
We
yet.
haven't seen enough
What,
of him.
and I feel like Stidham's uncertainty is kind of worse. I think I'm not going to pretend to know what's in Bill Belichick's
Yeah, that's the
head
thing.
because
We know what Cam Newton can do. We
Right.
know what his ceiling is.
well, we know what
he
Cam we
was.
know what Cam Newton did.
Yeah, and
Or, yeah,
Jarrett
can
Stidham
do,
yeah.
can
Yeah,
do, I
we see
suppose.
what he can do. We don't know what Jarrett Stidham can do. That's why I agree. His uncertainty is a little bit,
They're different
I guess,
forms of
worse.
uncertainty.
I mean, I think that I'd much rather know what a player can do than nothing at all. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I think that,
It's a lot less nerve-wracking.
yeah. But here's the thing that I want to ask. Let's say Jarrett Stidham is your Week 1 starter. How do you feel?
Nervous, especially with Cam Newton on your roster.
No. Let's
think
say
that's pretty
Newton
easy.
doesn't make the roster because
Okay.
I think there's a place where Newton doesn't make the team.
I disagree.
I
They signed him for $7.5 million, which is
Nope.
honestly,
you
I
signed
could-
him for $1 million, and he can earn up
Incentive.
to $7.5 million.
Right.
That's the thing. You can cut him $1 million, and you're done.
Right.
That's why he's cuttable.
Right. Incentive. Of course, he's cuttable today. I don't see it. The dude has been like obviously working his ass off. He was an MVP 5 years ago. And I know that kind of sounds far. The dude is 31. A lot of quarterbacks at 31 are in like the prime of their career at 31 years old. He's not on the decline. I am not ready to say, I got to see him in the Patriots uniform. I got to see how he plays. I'm not ready to say that Cam Newton is on the decline. I'm not.
I just want to see what the players got to say. That's what I want to know. I want to hear what like Devin McCourty has to say.
They've already kind of spoken out, and they're
Devin
hyped.
McCourty and Jason
Yeah.
McCourty have a podcast.
Yeah, and
I'm
have spoken
dead
out. They're
serious.
like, we're
I'm
a fan
saying,
of
like,
this.
if there's a training camp, let's hope. If there's a training camp or preseason, whatever type of place where we can see Cam Newton play, I just want to hear Julian Edelman says this guy is awesome.
Right.
Or I want to hear, Josh McDaniels say I'm so
Dude,
glad this
Patriots
happened.
greats. Willie McGinnis, pleasantly surprised by he was shocked, but he was really happy about it. by the signing of Cam Newton. Everybody is pretty pro Cam. I gotta say.
Yeah.
The guy, he doesn't have a lot to lose. He has nothing. Both sides have literally nothing to lose and everything to gain. It's a complete, as you said earlier, complete win-win situation.
It absolutely is. And I think that, I mean, look at the schedule. We haven't really talked about how Cam Newton faces up against some of these teams, but I think he's got some of these teams' numbers. I don't think that there's really any teams out there that are really like out
Like
of the
stretches.
reach. Like I think that the 49ers and the Chiefs are two teams where you can, and maybe Seahawks too, are three teams where you can like half pencil in a loss. Every other team, I think that they can beat. Every other one. Nah, I forgot
Ravens?
They
Yeah.
faced the Ravens too. My
You
mouse
really think Cam
just
Newton
hovered
is,
over
you think
it.
Cam Newton is this much of a change, but then you say he might get cut?
If
I
dude,
wouldn't be
every-
surprised.
just
I
majorly
wouldn't be
speaking.
surprised
Just
by
for the record.
anything.
Just for the record, everything I'm saying negatively about Cam Newton, whether it's being cut or whether it's not being good enough, is contingent upon his injury. It's all about it.
Okay.
Because we know what Cam Newton can do, and like you said, quarterbacks at 31 don't just fall off the face of the earth. So everything that I'm saying positively and negatively about Cam Newton is contingent upon his injury. If he is
Okay.
not injured, and what's it called, the Liz Frank injury is not apparent, and the shoulder injury, he's throwing bombs, this is a Super Bowl contending team, possibly 10th in the NFL.
Wow.
If he's injured
Is-
and
so you're saying
he's
it's
hobbling
completely-
around
you're
and
saying-
he can barely throw it 30 yards,
So you're
then
saying-
this team will be 23rd.
So you're saying it is completely dependent on his injuries.
I think so.
You're saying you're not concerned about.
Well,
So you're
look,
less so
obviously,
concerned about the
not
time he's
completely.
had off.
Obviously, I'm worried about if he can mesh into this offense, if he can.
The
conform
offense will
the
mesh to
Patriot
him.
Way. Obviously,
I think
those
it's
are
gonna go.
question
I think it's
marks.
obviously gonna go both ways. I think they're obviously gonna, taper some things and change some things, to suit him and his style of play, and also vice versa.
Yeah, and you have to remember,
And they're trying to discover, a new style of play altogether as far as their offense goes and their offensive front
And it's
goes.
something that the Patriots haven't seen in a long time, a
Exactly.
mobile quarterback out of the pocket. He can move around the pocket easily. 92% of his passes are
which is the
out
funny
of the
thing,
pocket.
because Tom Brady, wow, because Bill Belichick is so good at stopping those quarterbacks.
It's really interesting. I remember watching, just doing like my notes and just studying up for this. Like Bill Belichick has said before that he is a serious problem. Cam Newton, he's then like, this is one of the biggest problems in the NFL back in like, I think it might be either like 15, 16, or 17. He's been a serious problem.
And any problems that Bill faces, he signs them. Welker,
True.
same thing happened.
True. And look, 92% of his passes outside of the pocket. We have a top 10 offense. If something happens, if someone misses a block, an injury on the offensive line isn't far-fetched. This guy can move and get the ball off. What was Tom Brady's biggest problem last season? When he got rushed because the offensive line was a
Can't
little
run out of
bit.
the pocket.
He ran out of the
It's like
pocket.
the worst kept
No.
secret. You
He
just
ran
throw
out
in
of the
the middle.
pocket, and what did he do?
Throw it away.
He threw it
That's
away
why
every
I said
single
to you.
time.
That's why I said to you the offensive line stats look so good, because when he doesn't get sacked, I mean, look at the hurries. I bet the Patriots were probably in the top 10 for hurries last year of Brady being hurried out of the pocket. They had to be. It seemed that every third or fourth play, Brady was scrambling out of the pocket.
Yeah.
He just knew
Scrambling
how
out
not,
of the
like,
pocket.
Hobbling.
Yeah.
Not getting sacked doesn't mean completing a pass or like successfully making it. You could literally just be throwing away or just avoiding this.
Exactly, and that's why I said
in
the
general.
stats look so good.
Right. I think this guy can get the ball off. I think this offensive line is majorly improved, so I doubt he will even have a problem scrambling. But look, the defensive line is going to get there eventually. I mean, they can't hold him off forever. So I think this guy is going to be super efficient, getting out of the pocket and getting the ball to these receivers, or taking it himself. It's going to be super interesting, and I'm excited.
I like Cam Newton, and well, no, I like the player Cam Newton. I still got to warm up to the person Cam Newton, but I'm excited.
Me
I'm
too.
confident in Cam Newton. I think that this is gonna be a good season. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's
Well,
gonna bring excitement to
How
it.
confident? So we're introducing a new segment. So we have whiteboard here.
We will get 2 more when we have the time.
Yes, but of course. Stencil in 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Confidence in Cam Newton. What are we thinking, Mike?
This is a loaded question because I have
This is-
injury. You know what I mean? Like the injury is apparent to me. So this is upon no injury. If the injury's not there, I've got a 9.
Wow! A
Interesting.
9!
If there's no injury, if the injury is not there, then I've got a 9. I think that, it's
Pat,
Cam Newton. You know what I
what are you
mean?
thinking?
A 9, ladies and gentlemen. I am not going to say 9. And I say this only because of the injuries. And so what it sounds like is you're a little bit more confident in Cam Newton than I am.
I've seen what he can do.
I have 2. I'm going to go with the 7. I have a 7
Snooze fest.
for
Wow.
Cam Newton. And look, I know it's kind of boring, and I know nobody wants to hear it. Cam Newton was a great pickup. They have nothing to lose but everything to gain. I completely agree with either. Who said that? You, Michael? I agree with what Michael said. I think we know what this guy can do. Little worried about no, actually, I'm not really worried about the injuries. I just think that he's been out of the league for a while. That's my main concern.
I'm not even going to say I'm worried or not worried about the injuries. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And I think you need a certain buffer number to kind of predict that. My final answer is 7.
Interesting. I'm going to split the difference. I'm saying 8.
8.
I completely agree. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. I think that's kind of the punchline of this podcast almost. For both Bill and Cam, I'm really excited to see what this guy can do. And everyone, like we said before, I think Pat said it, Michael said it, everyone's pro Cam at this point. Like, nobody's saying...
Not everyone. People want to go for the future and Jarrett Stidham, see what he's got. But I think, seeing Cam Newton sign with the Patriots is kind of like a...
It made me smile.
It takes you back a little bit.
It did make me smile.
Yeah, and it's something that you can't not smile. You know what I mean?
Boys, I think we just wrapped up.
First podcast. My name is Michael Quattromani.
I'm Pat Daly.
And I'm your host, Neil Ditello, the 4-1 Podcast. Signing off.
Woo!
Go!
Very nice. Very nice.
Go!
All right. Very nice.
Oh, man.
Wow.